start the quickly. Others will join, and when they do, they would continue from where we are. So I'll be sharing my screen. All right, my name is Adiele Obed, and I am the founder and lead, the team leader of CPA affiliate marketing firm, which is Digit Affiliate Alliance. And I've already explained what we do. So I'm the team leader. I have a team of good guys, professionals who are very much into this field of financial activities. So we came together and we thought it is wise to let the door open for people who have interest in this. So the meeting today is basically an introductory class, it's an introductory session or training for beginners. The people who are already doing this will also find the training important and educative for them to fine-tune one or two areas of their trading experience. And those who are just starting afresh, who are just going newly into the system, will find it very helpful as they proceed. So I am still waiting for Nicholas from Botswana. Okay, this is Kanu Blessing. Okay, I'm adding her now. Okay, still waiting for Nicholas. I'm still waiting for two other persons, and Jeppe is from Botswana as well. Still waiting for him. Let's go on. Right now, I'll be sharing my screen. I'll be sharing my screen so that I can use that to explain what we are learning. So you will just see that. Please don't ask questions now. Don't ask questions so that you don't disrupt the flow of the class. You can get your questions out somewhere. Before the meeting ends, I will be giving room for your question and answers before the meeting ends. So let's just start quickly. Right, I want to share my screen right now. I want to share my screen right now so that we can please start that. Just a minute. Can we see the screen now? Can we see the screen now? Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen now? Okay. All right, I can see. All right. Okay, we'll just get on with it quickly as possible. Okay. All right. So we will be looking at a few things. We are looking at the introductory class, and what we'll be covering in today's learning will be basic things such as what is Forex, how money is made in Forex market, and what is currency pairs, what is a pip, and what is the value of a pip. Then we'll be looking at lot sizes and value of a pip, and we'll look at how to calculate the value of a pip. And then we'll also consider a very technical field of study, which is the leverage. We would scratch the surface of the leverage a little bit today and still go deeper in this field in subsequent classes, which might not be here, but if it will be here, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. Okay, Timothy wants to come in. So these are the first outlines of what we are going to be looking at. So we'll go straight to what we are dealing with. What is Forex? What is Forex? Basically, Forex is a short abbreviation for foreign exchange. And it is the process of changing one currency into another for a variety of reasons, usually for commerce, for trading or tourism. Okay, for trading or tourism. It refers to continuous process of simultaneously buying or selling one currency and selling one currency against another. Please turn off the video, please. Turn off the video. So basically what we do in Forex trading is that we buy and sell currency. Okay, and we do this in hope that one currency will strengthen against the other. So in a nutshell, when more currency is added to a certain, is taken from another currency to another, then there is a strengthening of the currency that receives more. There is a weakening of the currency that is being deducted on a continuous basis. So what that means is that the essence of our trading, just to see that there is a change in the strength of one currency against another. That's what basically what happens in the Forex market. And so the Forex exchange market becomes a global, decentralized or over-the-counter market for the trading of currencies. And this market determines foreign exchange rate for every currency. Now, there is a statistic that proves that as at 2019, the daily trading volume of Forex reached $6.6 trillion. And with this fact, it makes this market the largest market in the world. It means it's a market that has expanded so widely and is still expanding. And so joining the market will be a very good decision, since the market seems to be very, very stable, even though it is volatile to an extent. But because of the expansion and the increasing volume of activities that goes on there, it becomes an area of interest for people. But because it's an area that seems to be a bit technical, there's a need to understand the nitty-gritties around it before you venture into it, which is what the training basically is for. So in the forex market, what we trade is currency pair. That's what we trade. So we just bring one currency against the other currency, and then we exchange this currency. So the currency pair is the exchange rate between two currencies. And so if you move from one location to another where there is a currency difference, then what it means is that you would have to exchange your local currency for theirs. And this happens at different rates called exchange rates. So what happens is that if there is a need to relocate from your geographical location to a different location, you wouldn't spend your currency. If someone lives in Nigeria, for example, for, let's say you travel to Europe, you wouldn't need to spend naira there because it is not accepted. So the basic thing you would do is to exchange your naira for the euro, and in doing that, a rate is applied. That is a difference in how much of the naira you need to give out to get a certain volume or a certain amount of the euro. So this happens because there is an exchange rate which has been determined by the market itself. So that's what happens in the forex market. So for instance, the current euro to dollar exchange rate is about 1.0168. So this means that if you wish to exchange your dollar to euro, to get 1 euro, you would have to give $1.0168. So why? Because 1 euro is equivalent to 1.0168 US dollar. So that's simply what happens. So you want to get you want to get 1 euro. Okay, so what you would eventually give to the person who is to give you the dollar is, or rather, what we eventually get is going to be $1.0168 eventually. So That's basically what happened, because you're changing one currency to the other, and both currencies will not have equal valuation rate. So that difference in the valuation rate is what will now attract a profit or a loss in the long run. And so we'll go straight to how is money made in the Forex market? How do we make money? How is profit and loss made in the Forex market? So basically, money is made in the Forex market through the continuous fluctuations, which is the rise and fall in the exchange rate in the market. So the rise and fall of the exchange rate is what translates into the profit and loss we eventually get in the Forex market. So this fluctuation depends on the strength and valuation of each of these currency. So I gave an instance. So if the euro rises in value, what it means is that it will require more US dollar to get 1 euro. And this also applies to the US dollar. So a rise or fall in the US dollar will ultimately affect the amount of euro you can actually give in exchange for $1, because of strength and valuation of each of these currency. So I mentioned something before. I said what we trade in the forex market is basically currency pair, bringing one currency against the other. So a currency pair becomes any combination of two different currencies in forex market. So it is essentially the pairing of one currency value against another currency value. So this valuation ratio of the currencies is where our profit or loss is drawn. So basically, we have common currency values that we have in the forex market. I just had to list a few of them here for us to see. These are the most traded ones in the forex market. There are other ones actually. You have these ones that are predominant there. So you have the symbol, you have the country, and then the currency itself, and then the nickname. So you have the Australia, which is the dollar. The nickname is the Aussie. You have the Canada, that is CAD. Currency is dollar and it is loonie. Switzerland, currency is franc, which is nicknamed Swizzy. We have the Eurozone, the currency is euro, and the nickname is euro. The pound nickname is stable, which is for the Great Britain, GBP. Then the JPY, which is for Japan, currency is yen, and nickname is yen. NZD, New Zealand, currency is dollar, and then the nickname is Kiwi. And the USD, United States, currency is dollar, and the nickname is buck. So we have these as the most traded currencies in the forex market. So if you were to make a choice to start today, you would most likely be trading any pair of these currencies I've listed, because they are the ones that are mostly sought after in the forex market. So we proceed quickly. I said the major currency pairs that are traded are, we have the euro against dollar, that is the USD. We have GBP, which is the pound versus the dollar. We have the GBP, which is pound versus yen. The yen is for the Japan. Then we have the Aussie versus the dollar. Then we have the dollar versus the Swizzy. The Swizzy is for the New Zealand. So in each currency pair, now take note of this, in each currency pair, the first currency has a specific name. It is called a base currency. Why the second currency is called the quote currency. So you will do it to listen, because this is becoming more important that you listen at this point. So I pointed out a fact now that for each currency pair, you have the base currency, which is the first currency. Then you have the quote currency, which is the second currency. And so you have, for instance, in a pair between euro and the USD, the base currency is the euro, while the quote currency is the US dollar. Hope you can hear me, please, just to know that you're getting my explanations. Please, can I have a feedback that you can still hear me? Hear me, please. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we are here.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have just established the fact that the currency pair, sorry, multi-currency pair, you have the euro to versus dollar, the pound versus dollar, the pound versus yen, the Aussie versus the Swissy, and then we have the Aussie versus the dollar, and then we have the dollar versus the Aussie. All of these are the currency pairs that we have. And then take note of the base currency and the quote currency. So when you have euro versus dollar, euro becomes the base, while dollar becomes the quote. When you have Aussie versus dollar, the Aussie becomes the base, dollar becomes the quote. So let's proceed. Let's proceed. Okay. Now, every currency, every base currency in the pair always has a value equal to 1. So you will always exchange 1 unit of the base pair for whatever the value of the quote pair is. Very important. So you must know that whenever you're trading a unit of the base currency against whatever the quote currency value is. So now, if euro versus dollar is currently valued at 1.0168, it means that if I have 1 euro now, then I have on the other hand $1.1068. Now you can say this to me that if you require $1.0168 to produce 1 euro. So the euro is higher in value than the US dollar by roughly 2 cents, 1.0168. You can approximate that 1.02. So this becomes a fractional ratio at which the euro is more than the US dollar. So that's what you have. Keeping that in mind is very important. So okay, I'm going to take this out. To this later. So in the dollar versus yen, you have that the dollar becomes a base currency while the yen becomes the quote currency. And then what it means is that the quote pair is yen, while with a current exchange rate of 110.90. I think it has changed now as at when this document was prepared. So it might have changed. So this therefore means that if I have 1 US dollar and wish to exchange it for yen, JPY, then I will get 110.90 yen. It means that the US dollar is higher in value than the yen by 109.90. Now let's come home and look at the Nigerian currency. The base currency, if you look at it between the dollar and the naira, the base currency becomes the dollar and the quote becomes the naira, which has a value of 415. So if I have 1 US dollar today, what it means is that I will be getting a naira equivalent of 415 naira. So, and this explains why the naira is very good against dollar, since it will take me roughly 415 naira to get $1. So if I have $1,000 today from the forex market, then what I have when exchanged to naira is roughly 415,000 naira, and that is quite some. That said, so we are looking at the next thing. What a PIP is. I stated that we'll be looking at this also in my introduction, where we're looking at a PIP. Okay. I'm going to take this out. So a PIP is, okay, sorry, I've taken that. Let's move in now. What is a PIP? Looking at what a PIP is. I said a PIP is the smallest number that moves in the currency pair that we care about. So now understanding the concept around a PIP is essential because this is how the forex market moves. This is very important to us when placing orders. So we'll get to how to identify a PIP. So now the current quote value of the euro against dollar is 1.0168. So if we decide to move, okay, this is an error. If we decide to move the decimal places by spacing them, we'll have 0.0168. And starting from the right, the first digit is 8. Sorry for that error. Is 8, not 7. So, and this is called the first PIP with a unit value of 8. The second one, this is a typo error. The second one has a value of 6. That's going from my right towards my left. The first value here will be 8, and it has a unit value of 8. This is my first PIP. The second one will be called the second PIP, which is 6, and it has a value of 60. And then the third one is 1, and that's my third PIP, has a value of 100. So with this table here, now let us see, we have the same value revealed on the table. So 1.0168, we have the first PIP from right to left, the first PIP, the 10th, under the 10th column, the 6th there will be 6 tenths. That means I have 60 values there, 60 pips. Then the third column is the 100 value, which is 100, and I have 100 pips. The fourth column is 1,000 pips. This particular column really shouldn't bother us. It's rare to have any change on this column. So let us focus on the first, second, and third pip as we study. The first, second, and third pip. The fourth one really moves. It really moves. So the pip for any quote value begins from the right to the left, and it is counted in values of unit tens and hundreds. Okay, so however, because the movement of the digits in the forex market is fastest at the last digit, a pip is defined in terms of the smallest number that moves. And the case of the euro against dollar, the pip is 8. It just to show you that euro dollar, the pip is 8. Since 8 is the last digit there, so and that will be the fastest moving digit in this quote value. So 8 will be my pip. Other ones will move, yes, but they won't move as fast as 8 will move. So you can move either upwards to 9, or you can move downwards. You can move downwards to 7. Sorry, I have one here. I'm here to upgrade this my Zoom. Oh, so we have going forward. So I said because the movement of the digit in the forex market is fastest at the last digit, the pip is defined in terms of the smallest number that moves. And in the case of the euro to dollar, the pip is 8. So where you identify a pip is always the fourth place away from the decimal number. So from the decimal number, and then the fourth decimal place comes the pip. So I've been warned that this meeting will end in 10 minutes. If it ends, I'm going to send a new link for us, and they will simply join back and continue. Just bear with me on that. I will send a new link. It's a new meeting schedule, and then we will join, and then we'll continue from where we stop. But we have a lot to still look at. So I stated here, I said, bear in mind that as far as the PIP is concerned, all the currency pairs that end in JPY, that is, all the currency pairs that end in JPY have a slightly different PIP. So we can redefine a PIP as the smallest currency movement on any currency pair except the JPY. The JPY is the yen for Japan. So for any currency pair that doesn't have the JPY, the fourth decimal point is called 1 PIP. Called 1 PIP. So keep this in mind. We'll still look at a more study on PIP. So look at this. A quick application of the knowledge of the PIP is seen in the euro/dollar pair. If the quote value goes from 1.0168 to 1.0167, an important question will be how much money has been lost in this event, because there's a reduction. It's actually reducing from 1.0168 to 1.0167. So there is a drop in the quote value, which obviously will translate to a loss. But how much have we lost here? So, and then I said we have lost a value that is equivalent to 1 PIP. how? Look at the table here. You have the first value, the first row reviews the initial quote value as at the point when the purchase was made or when the trade was activated, and then we have the final value of the trade quotient ends at 1.0167. So if you look at the difference on the last row, you have that all other columns remained unchanged. The only one that changed is the last column or the first column from the right. And then that change dropped from 8 to 7, which is a -1. So and I said, since the value dropped from 8 to 7, a total value of 1 pip has been lost. In this instance, we are incurring a loss, not a profit in this instance. So, and then in this instance, we are having a situation where the market value has gone from 1.0168 to 1.0178. And if you notice, the last column or the first column from the right, which is the first pip, did not change. It's still 8 and 8. But the second pip, which is the 10th pip, which is the 10th value, has moved upwards by a unit value, but the other ones didn't change. So since the 10th value rose from 6 to 7, a total value of 10 pips has been gained. So what profit have we got here? So the profit becomes $10 times 1. Why? Because on this column, the value of a pip on this second value is 10. So we're having $10, which is the value of this unit pip now, times how many pip movement happened there? Just one, from 6 to 7. But the column there represents 10. So any movement on this column is equivalent to $10. So if I have a single movement, it is $10. If I have double movement, it becomes 10 times 2. So in this instance, I'm having just a single movement, which is why we're having a profit of $10. Then I have another table here that illustrates more of that, where we have a moving from 1.0168 to 1.0379. So the three columns, they all moved, they all changed from 8 to 9, single move, from 6 to 7, a single move, from 1 to 3, double moves. So what's going on here? This last column, or the first from the right, has a unit pip, but the second column has 10 times how many pips? 1, which is 10 pips. The third column has 2 times how many, 100 times how many pips? 2 pips, which is 200. Why 100? Because the third column, a single pip on the third column is equivalent to 100 value. So the total P value here becomes 200 plus 10 plus 1, so 210 pips. So with this value of pips, you can then proceed to translate it in calculating how much profit we've made or loss, as the case may demand. So that is a little bit about that on the PIP. So how do you determine a PIP for the JPY pairs? For the JPY pairs, sorry, this thing has refused to leave. For the JPY pairs, we have for any currency pair that has a JPY, the PIP is taken from 2 decimal places instead of 4.
Who is that?
2 decimal places instead of 4. That's for JPY pair. So now the current US dollar against JPY is 110.96. Now our 1 pip is the second decimal place. You notice we have 110.9 is the first decimal place. 0 is the second decimal place. So that second decimal place becomes our first pip. And if you move from the right towards the left, if you continue from the right to the left, the last digit there is 0. That's our first pip. The pip before it is 9, which is on the second column or the first decimal place. That becomes 10 pips. Then the digit before the decimal point, becomes 100 pips. That points to note, the last digit before decimal point represents 100 pips. The first digit after decimal point represents 10 pips. And the second digit after decimal point represents a single pip. This applies only to currency pairs with JPY, with the JPY. So let's look at examples on JPY pairs. If you have the price of US dollar against JPY go from 11090 to 11096, then we have made a profit that is equivalent to 6 pips. Now there is a table. So you have something like from 110.90 to 110.96. The only column that changed or that moved is the last column, or the second decimal place represents our first pip, which is a unit pip. As the second decimal place represents our unit pip, while the first decimal place represents our tenth pip. So in this case now, we only have a movement on the unit pip, which is a movement which is equivalent to 6 pips. And they simply just let us know that it is 6 times 1. Why? Because the unit of a pip on this column is just 1. That's why you have a profit equivalent to 6 pips. Then we have, if it goes from 11090 to 11290, it has risen by 200 pips. By 200 pips. So we have, since we have all other columns at 0, but the last column or the column before the decimal point represent our 100 pips. Each movement on that column is equivalent to 100 pips. So we have a movement that is equal to 2. And then we simply say 2 times 100 will give us 200 pips. So now, just for you to keep this in mind, that we are going through all of this so that by the time we eventually go straight into the trading, these are the things that we will be relating with. These are the things that we will keep at the back of our mind. These are the things that become very important to us in deciding how to trade, in deciding when to trade, in calculating our profit and loss. All of these basic facts now becomes very useful then. So without having this fact, it becomes difficult to relate when you find yourself in the actual trading. So we have this now, the value for a pip. The value for a pip depends largely on the amount of currency you're trading, very important, or the amount of unit you are trading. In currency market, trading is done in a set of units, and each unit comes in 4 major lot sizes. Keep note of the words I am underlining, they are very important. We have this now, the lot sizes. So if you're trading with units of currency, it is very important that you look out for the lot sizes in order to come out with the value of each pip.